In the Gospels of Matthew, Mark and Luke, we read about a man named Jairus. He lived in the town of Capernaum, and he came to Jesus with a very special request. This is his story. Jairus was an important man in his community, a ruler of the synagogue. But today that did not mean much to him. For Jairus and his family, only one thing was important. Their 12-year-old daughter was seriously ill, and they knew she was dying. There was only one hope. In the town of Capernaum, Jesus of Nazareth had healed sick people miraculously by the power of God. Jairus went looking for Jesus. "My little daughter is dying, but come and put your hand on her, and she will live." There was also a woman in Capernaum who suffered from bleeding, not just once a month, but all the time. In Jewish religious law, this made her unclean. Anyone she touched also became unclean, even someone who sat on the same stool. Jesus could heal her. Of that there was no doubt. But always he was surrounded by crowds, and if the people saw who it was, they would shout at her and drive her away. And Jesus, how could he touch her if she made him unclean? But perhaps she could touch him, just the edge of his cloak. No one would know. Jesus felt that power had gone out of him. "Who touched me?" The disciples objected. "Lord, everybody's touching you." "I touched you," she said. "Daughter," said Jesus, "go in peace. Your faith has made you well." For the woman it was wonderful, but for Jairus the delay was serious. At that moment Jairus got the news. His daughter, his little girl, was dead. It was too late. If only they had not stopped for the woman. But Jesus would not be put off. "Do not be afraid. Only believe. She will be made well." They must go on. Jesus took 3 disciples, Peter, James and John. Already the professional mourners were at the house, weeping and wailing. Jesus objected. "Make room. Why this commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping." The professional mourners knew the girl was dead, and the more noise they made, the better they would be paid. They started to laugh at him. Jesus must be out of his mind. Who did he think he was? Jesus ignored them. When Jairus came in, he saw for himself. His daughter was dead. But Jesus spoke to the body as if she could hear him. "Talitha kumi." "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Jairus had received his miracle. His daughter was alive. And the woman too could begin a new life because of Jesus. For Jairus, the most difficult moment was when Jesus stopped to speak to the woman who had been healed of bleeding, while his own daughter was dying. When the woman touched the tassel on the garment worn by Jesus, it was a very important action, because in that culture, holding a cord or the edge of a cloak worn by a person of authority placed you under his protection. There was nothing magical in the clothes of Jesus Christ. And it was not even faith on its own which healed the woman. The Bible says that power went out from him and healed her. She put her faith in the right person. Very soon, Jairus would experience an even greater miracle than that. But when Jesus stopped to speak to the woman, he could never have guessed it. So the darkest moment in his life became an opportunity to experience the grace and power of God. Sometimes it can be like that for us.